Listen to the word of the Lord. What do I have planned for September? What about Israel? What I'm about to tell you, says the Spirit, is not only for the land of Israel and the people of Israel, but this is for you, says the Lord. The tide is turning for Israel. The tide is turning for you. What speak I of, says the Lord? A very strange thing shall happen in September. Moving into the fall, where there shall be a great fall. Fall of the enemies, fall of kings, fall of princes. I shall do a strange thing in Egypt again. For even as David met an Egyptian who was the son of a Amalekite, who had been rejected because he was sick, David was about to go and take back what was stolen from him. David and his men were tired, and they came to an Egyptian, fed him, and he revealed to them where the enemy was. I shall use Egypt again. Yes, for those who are insulted because Egypt was fed bread, and Egypt was fed by David, an Egyptian. And many have said, why do you help Egypt? But God says, for a season, I will reveal a strange thing. Some of those who have been enemies of Israel shall suddenly turn and change their tune for a season. And I will restore, and I will deliver, and I will bring friendship for a season. And many of the enemies that now stand shall be non-existent, says the Spirit of God. It shall take 2 years. 2 years. But watch how I bless Israel. Watch how the rain comes to America. Watch how the rain comes to my kingdom. Watch and see. For God says, beginning in September, I will turn everything around, and my people shall see an intervention of a kind that they have never seen before, says the Lord.
Come on.
Wow. You know what was so interesting there to me, Christy, is when he's speaking about David feeding the Egyptian, he says, Egypt revealed to them where the enemy was. And I think when he's prophesying these things, those kind of things, it'll kind of pass you by because you hear him say 2 years and you're like, wow, he saw the 2 years and he saw Egypt. But there's little clues in there, especially when he makes biblical reference within prophecy. Always. There's a parallel or an alignment in the events.
Yes.
And so I find that very interesting because there are questions about who's done what over there in the Middle East. You know, we know Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood and support from there. And we just saw them. And what's the name of Doha?
Yeah.
Is it Doha? Mm-hmm. In Qatar, I think, is where they bombed. And then the Qataris got so upset. And then Trump had to. And, you know, a lot of that is obviously going to go on. This is such a tense situation. You can really feel the tension of it. You know, we're all the way over here in America and we're just seeing things on the news and stuff like that, but you can really feel the tension of the moment. But Trump, who my dad prophesied would be the trumpet, would do these particular things and pointed out what he would do using Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, Israel and America at the same time. And Trump has gone in and using financial agreements and making deals, he's pulled them into a position where it is to their advantage, some of these other Middle Eastern countries, to align with Israel because it, you know, even them, you'll notice none of them want to take any Palestinians in. They don't really want, because it does cause a lot of trouble. If you look at the border of Egypt and Gaza, It's I've never seen a border fence like that. I mean, the amount of barbed wire over the top, and so then those who would criticize, number one, criticize America for wanting to have a border at all. And you remember the group of activists who went over, and they were going to go through Egypt into Gaza, and met with the reality, because they, it was a bunch of Europeans and Americans, boomer aged activists, and really disconnected from the reality of what's going on. And they went marching in there, and the Egyptians are like, "You're not allowed to march." And they're like, "But we can protest. We should be able to march."
Not in Egypt.
Actually, no, that's not the way things work over there. Okay. You need to appreciate the freedoms you have in the West, which it seems to bypass people. And so when I see Greta Thunberg and her flotilla, which was funded by Hamas, by the way, and they're the 3 boxes of aid that they put on the boats, it's all PR.
Of course, it's PR.
But you see them, and I would say, they want Israel to pick them up.
Yes.
And they want to have a big public, we were taken hostage. Greta Thunberg filmed that before they went on the flotillas, filmed her video about being taken hostage. So it's very, very obvious. And I've said again and again, the Israelis should just let them go in.
I agree.
And call their bluff. Yeah, let them go in.
Go if you can. Take it.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But again, we see the behavior of people being unnatural. And then you also see the tactics, the very clever tactics, that some of these terror organizations, particularly Hamas, have used when it comes to propaganda and influencing people via social media, etc. And I think that Russia and China have their hand in that, in the propaganda. It's to their advantage, a lot of the stuff that's happened in the West.
Yeah, of course.
And so there's this bigger picture, and of course Dad definitely prophesied a lot about that as well. And so we're beginning to see these prophecies that were all over here coming together into a picture, which is exactly what he used to tell me would happen with code breakers. He said one day it'll be like woven into a tapestry, and you'll see. Yes. And a tapestry is very good. He could have said picture, he could have said puzzle, but it is woven together. These events and what he prophesied, again, that were seemingly separate, are all woven together into one thing.
Yes.
And so we are beginning to see very, very clearly now as some years have passed.
We are.
And so, so we have the war. October 7th happened in 2023. We're now at the 2-year anniversary. As we hear Kim Clement shouting, it'll take 2 years. It'll take 2 years. Back in 2014, he's saying this. Here they are in Egypt as he's seeing Egypt.
Yes.
And unusual alliances, Egypt, Qatar, and the United States.
Yes.
So there's some precision in here that would have been impossible for my dad.
Impossible.
On his own, with his human brain.
Absolutely impossible.
To figure out or to guess that accurately. Somebody made a video that was going around social media where he was asking ChatGPT about my dad and the prophecies and the accuracy, and ChatGPT said it was impossible for anyone to have guessed. Mm-hmm. The likelihood of it was 1 in a trillion or something crazy. Of someone being able to guess that many things accurately. So he was hearing from God as he said he was.
Yes.
And we also, because we know him, and many people who watched him, know him through following and watching the ministry for years, understand that he really was just getting up there, prophesying what God was telling him, and not really thinking about it.
No.
As much, certainly not as much as we are today, but he knew certain things, and he knew this would end up being this way. And so it's been incredible.